This is Song of the Valiant, Sword of the Dead, Book 2, written by Morgan Rice, read by Liam. Chapter 1. The crops were dying. Cassin didn't have much, only a small holding, but for years now it had been enough to keep her fed, to give her a chance to live as well as any peasant in the kingdom of Litos could. Every day she woke early, worked hard, and scraped enough from the dirt to survive. Today, beneath the shadows that covered the sky, the crops were withering. Those shadows roiled above like dark clouds, shifting and billowing, as if they were moving to intercept the light that might come through otherwise. They rendered everything beneath them a kind of perpetual half-light, like a heavily overcast day. Only every day was like that. Cassin didn't know if it was the lack of light, or the cold that was starting to seep through everything without the sun's warmth to counter it, but no crops could survive like that. She surveyed her small holding with a heavy heart, knowing that if the crops didn't survive, she would have nothing left. She had no family, no other means of income. If her harvest failed, she would simply starve to death. She guessed that she wouldn't be the only one. Since the shadows had appeared over the kingdom, things had been hard for everyone. They said it was because Princess Meredith had been kidnapped by King Xander of the kingdom beneath, that these were his shadows, cast over the kingdom with his dark gifts. Cassin didn't know much about that. She only knew that her plants were dying. Cassin ran a hand through her dark, tangled hair and let out a deep sigh. She had to do something. She couldn't sit around and wait for things to get better. Gathering up the hem of her woolen dress, she ran back towards the small stone cottage that she called home and gathered up a fishing net. She cursed as she realized that it was torn. Now she had a choice. She could spend her time fixing it and hope that there would be fish, or she could spend her time on her dying crops. Either way, she was gambling with starvation. Cassin had always been better at farming than fishing, but right now it seemed like her best option. Taking up the net, she headed for the shore. She would fix it there. It helped that her village was close to the sea. It meant that a short walk down a stony path would take her to the shoreline, where she could try casting her net and hope that it came up with enough to keep her fed. There would be kelp or wild herbs down by the shore too. It wouldn't be enough to sustain Cassin for long, but at least it would be something. She hurried along the path, carrying the net bunched under her arm. She tried not to look up at the sky, the swirling shadows there unnerving in a way that normal dark clouds would not have been. What was more unnerving was that out on the edge of the horizon, she could see an end to those shadows, as if they hung only over Litos, targeting it, constricting it in a death grip. As the sea came into view, Cassin could see that several people had had the same...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?